Hi, everybody. It's Gene Simmons, and you're not, and you're listening to the Potter Than Hell podcast with Steve, BC, BB, and Dylan. But you knew that, didn't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is your last stop on the crazy train of hard rock and heavy metal. So sit back, buckle in, and hang on. Here we go.
Hello, Potter Than Hellions. Welcome back to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is Steve, your host. And guess what?
Ta-da!
We got the band back together.
Oh, yeah!
First time since early March, I think, that we have... Actually, maybe probably since February, I think, that all of us were here. So, as always, once again, I'm joined by...
BC.
And...
BB.
And on the keyboards is...
Dylan.
And our guest star this evening from live, when we're doing this, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Mr. Sonny H. Pooni, Esquire. What's up, buddy?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Pooni.
We are good. We are good. Hey, are you in the middle of that storm up there?
Dude, it snowed here yesterday. I was driving in a blizzard. It's crazy.
That sucks. For once, we're not in a storm here. It's not warm, but it's a little cold for this time of year. But we're not in a storm. That's crazy. I saw that people are getting like a foot of snow. It's like freaking April.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy here yesterday, and then it turned into like hail, and they were talking about tornado warnings. I'm like, this place is nuts.
Yeah, just what you need after a snowstorm is a fucking tornado.
Yeah.
Jeez, crazy. Yeah, like I said, guys, we're all back together here once again. It's good to have everybody back. And Sonny, what's happening with you and our buddy Steven on growing up and the guys from Podcast Rock City?
Growing Up Rock, we're just kind of trucking along. We're coming up on our 100th episode, so we're thinking about ideas to do. Just interviewed Frank Hannon, which was really fun. So we do what we do at Growing Up Rock, and Podcast Rock City is trucking along. We're at 240 some odd episodes, and we just interviewed Zach Throne from the Bruce Kulick band, the guy who was singing all the Gene parts on the Kiss Cruise. So fun guy to talk to. So just trucking along.
Yeah, cool. I listened to both of those episodes. The Frank Hannon one was cool, and you could tell, and either you or Steven alluded to it at the beginning of the thing. He's got kind of a hippie vibe to him, which I think is kind of cool. You can tell he's kind of like kind of laid back and hey, dude, and this and that. But real good interview, and the Zach Throne one was really good too. And I didn't realize, and I was like, holy crap, he's the guy that does the voiceovers for Greg Brady on the Brady Bunch movies.
Yeah, so he's doing the singing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And do you play that game, any one of you guys play that game, Bejeweled Blitz?
Yes. It's
He's the voiceovers for that, too.
Oh, that's crazy.
Really?
It's like a
insane
game where you match up the colors.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to play it now.
Yeah, it's a fun little game to pass the time.
That's awesome, though. Yeah, they were both great interviews and shows, and I'm glad you guys are kicking ass. And we are actually also creeping up on our 100th episode, and we talked about it a little bit, but we'll probably do something boring.
I just wrote down the date that the 100th episode is going to be released. It's June 7th.
June 7th. Okay, so we got a little bit of time. So, all right, dudes. It's been a while since we had everybody here. We'll see what do we got? What are we listening to here, guys? Dylan, what are you listening to?
I was a little all over the place with what I was listening to. I was listening to some Dream Theater after checking out one of the albums that we're going to be talking about today. Going back, listening to the first Dream Theater album I ever listened to, 6 Degrees of Interturbulence. Has an awesome opening song, though long, called The Glass Prison. I was also listening to their other album, which was the one right after it, that was Black Clouds and Silver Linings. That one has a really good... Don't do that, because that's the album that has Chapman Land on it on the one bonus disc.
Well, at least the bonus stuff's good.
But I was also listening to a band that Carson likes, Beartooth, their newest album, Disease, that was released last year. Really good stuff. Metalcore-ish, but this album is a lot more mainstream hard rock. So it's a really good album. Actually, Dad, I think you would really like it.
Okay.
If you're a fan of I Prevail and what was that other one that you were listening to? I mean, it's close to Dead Girls Academy, but
okay. I'll check it out.
Yeah, good.
All right, Sonny, how about you, my friend?
Well, you guys know me well now, so I got major issues. So
Don't
I
we all?
was in Milwaukee this weekend, bored. So I decided to make a playlist of all my Desert Island albums and make a playlist of all my almost Desert Island albums, like one song I don't like kind of thing. So I got two separate things going on my iPhone, and then I can just hit shuffle. So I've been listening to my playlist, Desert Island albums, and there's all kinds of stuff in there because I'm not just all rock.
Cool, definitely. I don't know. I never really thought about a Desert Island albums like.
Yes, you have.
Huh?
Yeah,
I mean, I have, but like.
Didn't we have an episode
We had
on
an
it?
episode like that. Yeah, we did. That was like one of the
Stop
first
lying to the listeners.
20s-ish.
Easy. That's a
I'm sorry. I'm just shot
Oh
here.
my
Hold
god.
on, take that beer off.
I'm okay. I mean, lately. Okay.
Okay. Better.
All right, BB, how about you?
Almost pretty much with this episode, I've been really delving into the End Machine, the new kind of quote unquote old lynch mob with Robert Mason and Stephen Lynch. It's growing on
George
me.
Lynch.
Lynch.
Stephen Lynch?
No, sorry, that's
Everybody's fucked up
That's
today.
autograph, right? That's Stephen Lynch's autograph,
I'm
right?
afraid to
And
talk.
David Lynch plays bass.
Yeah, George Lynch. Well, yeah. It's growing on me. It started kind of slow. It was tough to get through, but
It's a
starting to
grower.
enjoy it. Starting to enjoy it after probably about 8 rotations. It's growing on me. So
I really don't have that much time to give an album anymore.
From what I heard of it, wasn't too bad.
It was. Yeah, I gotta give it another shot.
I will say that I was playing it for Oliva on the bus ride to Kiss, and at one point he was like, "When do we put the Kiss back on? We're getting tortured back here." So I don't know, take that or leave that.
All right, BC, what do you got going? No Lizzie Borden this week. What do you got?
Is he born? Anyways, the band's back together here. We're getting a little bumpy here, trying to gel back together. See, everybody's.
I know
bouncing around here.
we're not even 10 minutes in. We're fighting already.
I mainly I did a lot of what we're going over tonight, and I find myself going back to Tesla's first one, Mechanical Resonance.
That's a good one.
I mean, that's just a classic Desert Island album in my book.
I never really thought of that.
where would you get that idea from, BC?
Desert Islands.
What are you talking about? Who wants to be on a desert island?
Did you mean a desert island?
Desert Island, yeah.
Desert Moon.
Yeah,
He's gonna take it.
desert moon.
That's good. That's a good song.
It is.
Now, do you mean the?
Dennis DeYoung version's better.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
The Dennis DeYoung version or the Great White version.
Great way for.
Dennis DeYoung version that's a good song.
I never.
That's a great song.
The Terry Lewis version.
Terry Lewis. We saw.
Maybe the Mitch Malloy version.
Ooh, that could be the BC version.
I've yet to hear him sing one Great White song. I'm afraid to.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Not good.
No.
I don't know what happened there.
They even released.
I think
They released it like from a concert. They did "Rock Me,"
Oh, okay.
and it's like you or I sang it.
Oh,
It's-
really? Oh.
He does not fit.
Well, how do you know I don't sing good?
Well, that's true. That is true.
Well, give us a few bars.
I don't have the lyric. I don't have the lyric. Yeah.
There's Cisco's bar. There's a
It's
Frank's
easy.
bar.
There's a bar at the
rock
hotel.
Me, rock me, roll me through the night. Go ahead.
I'm good. I didn't drink enough. Maybe if I had about six more of these pounders by the time I get done, maybe I'll sing a couple
See,
bars.
if you were smart, you would have been like, "Hey, editor, why don't you put in the actual singer doing the song?"
What?
Put in Mitch Malloy.
You know what?
Hey, Steve can't sing at all.
You know how I think they got Mitch Malloy? Did you ever see that Seinfeld episode where the guy is the Wiz and he has that smile every time they see him? They do the ting with his teeth. I
I'm
think
the
maybe
Wiz.
like
Nobody can touch me. I'm the
yeah,
Wiz.
I'm the Wiz. I'm the Wiz. I think maybe he like gave that smile and they got that little twinkle. You're hired.
Okay.
But we love him, Mitch Malloy. He was almost in Van Halen.
So what are you listening to?
I am listening to. I'm still kind of on my Maiden kick a little bit, but actually, like, I've really been listening to Killers a lot. That album is like so good, and I actually have listened to some of the songs that they've done live with Bruce Dickinson singing them, and then Paul Di'Anno singing them. I really like Paul Di'Anno singing the Paul Di'Anno stuff. The Bruce stuff is okay, but I like the kind of angst in the vocals with Paul Di'Anno.
I think we need to do an Iron Maiden episode to get you out of this Iron Maiden kick, because
I think so too. And
literally
also,
your
but
past
also,
three
I know,
listened
I
to
know.
has just been Maiden.
But hey, go ahead, BC.
Yeah, but at least
Maiden.
he's off the Slash kick now. Now he's
Yeah,
on the Maiden.
that's
No,
a
We'll have to
possibility.
listen about Iron Maiden for the next 3 months.
Yeah,
Actually, look. Oh no,
Maiden has more material at least.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
I was listening to Slash earlier today too. But, I found a band called Hellfire, and there's an album called Mania, and it just came out this year. It's really, really good. It's a great metal album, so check those guys out. They're a new band.
Back in Notre Dame.
Boy, we are like rambling today, aren't we? Shit. This is what happens when
Not
we're,
all of us
we're
are
on,
rambling.
We're on a too long hiatus. All right, so what we're listening to, I'm still got a little Maiden kick going, a little Hellfire. The album's called Mania. BC is
Tesla
getting
back
some
when they're
Edison's medicine,
That's not
listening
on that
to
album.
Mechanical Resonance.
Edison's Medicine's not on that album.
No, it's not on
Wrong
that album.
album.
But after you're gonna understand what I'm talking about after you listen to this episode. And
He's being a modern day cowboy.
BB's got, yes. BB's got he's listening to the End Machine. Dylan's got some Dream Theater going and some Beartooth. Sonny has his Desert Island playlist going, which
Beartooth is
no,
one word, by the way.
Beartooth is one word. Okay. And Sonny has his very, I'm sure, diverse Desert Island playlist going. 2 of them.
Now, Sonny, I hope there's some Prince on there.
There's Purple Rain is Desert Island album, but so is the latest Bruno Mars record. So there's just different
Oh,
things.
24 Karat Magic?
Oh yeah, love it, front to back.
I'll have to take your word
What
for
you're
it.
trying to do.
Is that something dirty?
Yeah,
24 Karat Magic.
All right, one more quick thing, and they just announced just the other day that they are going to do this again, this Dio hologram tour, and I just kind of want to get everybody's take on it. Sonny, what's your take on the whole Dio hologram thing?
I gotta at least check it out, because if it's worth anything, then that's a way to bring Prince back. So they're playing here the pit bus for like the front level seats, and then like the second row up's 45 and the nosebleeds 35. So the prices of the tickets are not bad, and they got Oni Logan with them, and they got Ripper. So I guess it's not all going to be hologram.
Okay, BC.
That's the first I've heard that. I mean, that'd be cool, but I don't know. That the hologram thing does nothing for me. I'm sorry.
Dylan.
I'm going to come down as not a giant fan of it. I would rather they just have different singers rather than the hologram. I feel like the hologram is a nice tribute, but it makes the band almost a slave to a certain
Slave
thing
to the
they have to
vocals.
do every time, whereas with another singer, they could have some variety. They could do some different things, slow some stuff down, speed some things up. But with the hologram, they have to stick with the hologram, or else it's not going to work. So, I like singers rather than a hologram.
All right, BB.
I'm very interested in this. Like Sonny said, like Oni's going to sing and Ripper's going to sing, so it's not going to be a whole hologram show. Like it seems like the internet is trying to, like, they're going to just throw a whole bunch of songs and he's going to be a hologram for the whole night. I'm sure they'll probably have maybe like six to eight songs that they'll do like hologram. And to me, I'm sure some of the proceeds are going to a Stand Up and Shout Cancer Foundation. It keeps his music alive. It keeps these younger kids who maybe has never seen Dio live, to at least get somewhat close to actually seeing him. So I'm kind of on board with this. I'm a big, humongous Dio fan, and keeping his music out there and popular and people listening to it, I'm all for it.
Okay. I'm kind of middle of the road. I was dead against it in the beginning, but now if they're going to be bringing in these other guys that do some songs and stuff, I'm a little more for it. The band is phenomenal. The band is great, but and like Dylan said, like they're kind of they're locked. Whatever songs they do with the hologram, they're locked in musically. They have to do the songs for however the vocal is, and I don't know. I think that kind of takes a little bit of the spontaneity of a live show out of it. Have them bring 3 or 4 singers along and have them each do different songs. Like bring like Jeff Tate. I don't think he's doing a whole hell of a lot right now, although he does have a new project. I would rather them just be a little more like live feel, because I think it just is going to be missing a little something. But like I said, the band is phenomenal. If it was just all Dio, that would limit them to digging deeper into the catalog too for different songs, so they're going to be kind of limited to what they do with the hologram, which I think is a little weird. I'd rather see guys singing and just have maybe pictures of him or like clips of him singing while they're playing, So, but it'll be interesting. And like I said, the band is phenomenal. And I have a whole new respect for Craig Goldie. You guys, Steven did an interview with Craig Goldie on your guys' Grown Up Rock podcast and was absolutely phenomenal. And he gave a lot of insight as to what took place when he was in Dio, and it renewed my respect for the guy. And he's just a phenomenal player. So.
The question I got is, would you guys go see this band if Ripper was the singer and that's it? They come out, they call it Almost Dio, and it's Ripper singing.
Yes.
And there's nothing else. Would you guys go see him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hell
It's
yeah.
almost just like like Last in Line.
Yeah. Well, it's like, because we saw Dio's Disciples. They had 3 guys singing. It was Ani Logan and like
Ripper, and there was some.
It wasn't Ripper though.
Was it at M3?
At M3 was it Ripper Owens?
I think it was.
I think it was Ripper, Ani Logan.
And there was another guy. There was another guy we didn't know.
Yeah.
There was another guy we didn't know, and he was like the best of the 3 of them, I think. Mm-hmm. So I love that idea, because were you there that year, Dylan?
I think
Dio's
so.
Disciples?
Yeah.
That was freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, they sound
And that
great.
was like the best. They played on Friday night, and they were the best ones that night.
I would definitely be for that. I mean, the whole hologram thing, you're like watching a video.
No, I don't think I was there thinking about it. I think I'm just remembering like all the other bands doing Dio
okay.
covers, mostly Heaven and Hell, but other
My-
songs as well.
My guess is the hologram takes them from the clubs to the theaters.
True. True. So, you guys out there, let us know what you guys would do in that instance. Would you go or not go? And if you would go, let us know why. If you would not go, let us know why.
I was looking on the website and some of the press releases. I wasn't seeing anything that any of the proceeds are going to the Stand Up for Cancer. Oh. So I don't know if they're just not advertising that or if that's just not going to happen. But I don't know. I feel like if I was going to go to it, I feel like I would want some of my money going towards a good cause for it, maybe.
Right.
But I could see maybe why not. You have to pay the musicians and everything. And I'm sure that the hologram technology is pretty expensive, so they'll have to pay that off too. But, yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. And let's take a real quick break, and we'll do some news. All right, the news this week, people. I'm going to talk about something totally off topic, has absolutely nothing to do with music or anything we usually talk about on here. I just want to give a great shout out to the firefighters in Paris that pretty much saved a shitload of history when they had the fire at the cathedral at Notre Dame the other day. And I just wanted to give a shout out to those guys. With us guys being firefighters, I wanted to make sure I give those guys a shout out. What do you guys think, real quick?
Yeah, talk about a crazy situation. And somebody said the amount of wood that was on that on the roof of that building was like astronomical. So
In the age of the wood, though.
Yeah,
yeah, it
hundreds
was so
of years
dry,
old.
Boom, like you guys know. And kudos to those guys, because they had one hell of a fire on their hands, and they kicked ass. And like I said, kudos to them.
What did they say? How many feet up in the air was it? It's like
300 feet in the air or something like that.
I mean, jeez.
Our highest trucks go like 100. Theirs may go a little higher, but
yeah, but
Maybe 120, but
Still.
yeah, it's just crazy. And the funny thing is, I was on duty that day, and we were watching it, my partner and I, and we started watching it like maybe 15 minutes into the fire when they had it on the news, and the quickness that fire traveled, and it was funny because people that they were talking to on the phone and stuff were saying, "Oh my God, where's the fire department?" And then the one lady said later on, it took the fire department 2 hours to get there. But I mean, those guys had, that's one fire you pull up. Oh my God, like where do you start? I'm sure they had it pre-planned and everything, but those guys, they got a whole bunch of art out and everything like that, and those guys risked their life for history. And hats off to you guys, great job. And so now we'll talk a little bit about music. BC, I got bad news for you. No Megadeth album this year.
I read it.
What do you think?
No need to rush.
True. They got stuff, but they have it. I guess it worked out better for them now, time-wise, because they were supposed to do those summer dates with Ozzy, and now with Ozzy canceling his tour plans, they have more time to concentrate on the album. Plus, they have the Mega Cruise coming up too.
Yeah, that looks good. I mean, of course, they keep adding onto it.
Right. And plus, not too long ago, then they just released the greatest hits type thing. So I'm sure under some
Warheads on foreheads.
Yes. So I'm sure somehow under contract, they released an album in 2019. So, but hey, if this is a couple of years to sit, relax, and write some kick-ass music, I'm all for it.
Yeah, because Dystopia was fantastic, and they're another band I think that is just kicking ass. They're just getting better and better as they go along.
Well, to say early 2020. That's not far away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost May now.
Still takes them less time to put out an album than Metallica.
That is true.
Yeah. There's way more Megadeth stuff out there, like newer than Metallica. All right, cool. One more thing. Stephen Pearcy now, the Stephen Pearcy version of Rat, which is Stephen Pearcy, Pete Holmes, who is the drummer of Black and Blue, Jordan Ziff, he's in a band called Razor, and Chris Sanders from Brittany Fox and Night Fury. I don't know who Night Fury is.
Lizzie Borden.
Huh?
Lizzie Borden.
Was he in Lizzie Borden? Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know if I should believe you, BC.
Well,
believe me.
Yeah, we worked that in real quick.
We're
into the
another
news.
Lizzie Borden this episode again in the news.
And what he's saying is now that they're going to start what a lot of bands, except for Kiss, seem to be doing these days, are adding deeper tracks into their sets to maybe get some more deeper fans into the seats, or into the places. They're probably playing clubs, so they're not getting any fucking seats. Doing songs like "I Want a Woman, Sweet Cheater," which is crazy.
That'd be good.
They haven't done that since
real good.
forever.
That'd be
And even the Rat ballad, "Giving Yourself Away."
Really?
Yo.
Yeah, I don't know if I've all the times we've seen Rat, I've never seen.
Never
them play
heard them do that
Was it
one.
a detonator?
Detonator, yeah. So look for Rat out there if you guys want to see Rat. If you want to see the latest incarnation of Rat, so you have no Bobby Blotzer. That's a shame. And no Warren Dean Martini and no Carlos Cavazo. But you do have Juan and Steven. So
Take the good, you take the
two
bad.
fifths, I guess you got. So, guys, not a whole hell of a lot going on other than that this week. So we'll go right back into the show. All right. News was cool, as usual. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's get into our topic this week. And what we're going to do is we kind of shot this back and forth a couple times what we're going to do. And we like to throw out some new music out there every now and then instead of talking about, all the old stuff that we, talk about all the time. And so what we did was each one of us picked an album that was released this year already. And then we each had our own picks, and we're going to talk about them. And we did our sophisticated picking. The way we pick things here, we wrote the names down and picked them out of BB's Boston Red Sox hat. And Dylan, you got to go first this time.
I did. And what an album to start with, because I'm sure this is going to be an album that most of the people at the table will have negative things to say about. I'll let everybody talk about that when we get to them. The album I picked, of course, is the 14th studio album from one of my favorite bands, and I believe BC's as well, Dream Theater. The album Distance Over Time, released February 22nd, 2019. It was produced by John Petrucci, the guitarist for Dream Theater, and it was recorded through June and September of 2018 in New York. There were 3 singles released for the album: Untethered Angel, that was released December 7th, Fall Into the Light, released January 11th, and then the final single was Paralyzed, released February 8th. So Dream Theater, a very divisive band. A lot of people think that their songs are a little too long, and at times I can agree they are a little self-indulgent, especially their last album, The Astonishing, was almost 3 hours long. It was a double album, and so they decided to almost go the exact opposite route, going from an album that was 130 minutes length down to an album that is under an hour, if you don't count the bonus track. I would like to talk about the bonus track because I think it's a good song to talk about. The cover art was done by the same guy that does a lot of the art for Rush, Hugh Syme. Really cool cover art. It's a robotic hand holding a skull. And I'm going to just start talking about the album. So for me, this album front to back, barring a couple songs, is pretty good. I honestly think it would be a really good intro to Dream Theater to somebody because it's not too long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. This and maybe Images and Words would be the two albums that I would give to somebody and be like, hey, this is what to check out with Dream Theater. The one song that I think drags a bit is actually the second single, Fall Into the Light. I think it's the second longest song on the album, 7:04. Sorry, third longest song on the album. It just drags a little bit. The other two songs that are longer, I think, use their time a little better. Some songs that I really liked. Room 37 has like this cool, like watery Beatles vocal part right before this like really awesome solo. It almost sounds like a Magical Mystery Tour era Beatles vocal, and I really like that. I think the song S2N starts a bit like Anthem from Rush, and then there's like a bit towards the end that's kind of By Torn the Snow Dog-ish, where it's like the dun 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 dun. It kind of reminded me of that and had like the sudden stop. At Wit's End, I love the keyboard solo in that song. That's really awesome. I think Pale Blue Dot is a really cool song to end the album on, and the bonus track is it's a really different song for Dream Theater. It's almost like a Deep Purple. It's got like that organ sound at the beginning, and it's kind of a funk song, and it's a really cool, fun way to end the album that's a little different for the band. So all in all, I really love this album. The only song I would really trim down, I would say, is Fall Into the Light. The other two songs that have the length really work for me. But I would love to hear what you guys think of it.
Again, loving Dream Theater here, but to me, the last album, I liked it. It got bashed by a lot of people. Because I think
it got fucking lambasted.
I think it's you got to be a Dream Theater guy or person to really appreciate that.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna like the album.
No.
When like this is the total opposite. Still have Dream Theater to it, but not overdose of it.
Yeah.
Like you said, this and Images and Words would definitely be an album to push to somebody to break them into it before they get into the heavier stuff. But Barstool Warrior stands out to me at Wit's End, and Fall Into Light. I like that when he gets to the guitar part.
Yeah, the guitar part's great.
That is great. Before that, Room 137, S2N. I love the bass in it.
The bass in it is really cool.
Jesus. But overall, this is one of my favorite albums this year.
Awesome.
All right, cool.
And there was a time frame that I could not get it out of my player.
And I will say, you talked about Barstool Warrior. They actually today just came out with their beer called Barstool Warrior. And Hotter Than Hell listeners, we are giving up a chance to go have Dream Theater bartend for us in New York City today to record this episode. So you're welcome.
Absolutely. Sonny, what's your thoughts on this one?
All right, I have to start by saying, Dylan, I really love you.
Yeah.
Okay, I do. If it makes you feel better, it wasn't the worst album we picked today. So here's my thing with you. I don't get Dream Theater. I'm a stupid 3-4 minute song guy. Somebody says there's 9 songs on an album. I'm like, cool, 35 minutes, I'm in, baby. So when people were telling me that this should be your entry point, they're not long songs. I'm like, bullshit. It's 55 minutes for 9 songs. It's too goddamn long. So I gave it a try. I listened to every single second. These guys, there is absolutely no doubt they are talented. There's no doubt. I heard a little bit of Chili Peppers' Higher Ground in Room 137, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, because I could not think of what the hell the name of that song was.
I'll tell you, my second favorite song was At Wit's End, even though it's 9 minutes long, but the vocal melodies are way too cool. And my third favorite song was was Out of Reach because of the piano start and the slow build. Mm-hmm. So I really like that. And then really my favorite song, which I kind of, my favorite song was Viper King, which is the bonus track, right? Because it has a little bit of that Deep Purple feel. So the way I kind of rounded out this album was, it was awesome, since Viper King was at the end, it's like that awesome graham cracker greasy crust at the bottom of a cheesecake that was meh.
Okay. That's a very colorful way of describing it.
But there's there was some good stuff. There's no doubt. It's just that, I don't need the musical interludes. I just don't, there were songs that just could have been cut in half. But that's just me, because I don't really like Rush either. So.
And I want to say I feel bad because I had picked this album before we asked you to come on this episode. And then I heard Sonny's going to be on the episode. I'm like, oh, no. I feel so bad I picked another Dream Theater.
It's okay.
All right, I'm definitely in the same boat as Sonny. It's definitely not the worst album that we listened to in this group. Musically, these guys are fantastic. It just, a lot of it kind of missed my eardrum in a way. But once again, I'm on the same pages as Sonny. The Viper King, thank God it's a bonus track, because it is definitely the best song on the album, which I can't understand why they didn't put it on the album. So if you just buy the LP, it's probably not on there. So you have to buy the actual Apple download to get the bonus track.
The weird thing is, it is actually on like every edition.
It's on
So
every
I don't know
edition.
why.
I don't know why they call it.
I don't know why they're
bonus track.
calling it a bonus track, because it's literally on every
It's on
edition.
everything, yeah.
Okay, I love that song. It's such like it has like that heavy metal, jazzy groove to it. I also like the we're called the S2N. Jordan's cool keyboard solo with Petrucci on the background guitar mix in that song is really, really cool. And I was a big fan of Fall Into the Light. Nobody's mentioned that one yet. I thought that was like a Metallica kind of mixed with a Deep Purple vibe in it, but we've all said Deep Purple for different songs. But
Solo to me.
it was a good album. I'm not 100% sure if I'd actually go out and buy it, but I would probably leave it in my phone and shuffle through all the songs.
Okay.
But the more BC forces me to listen to Dream Theater, I'll probably end up liking it. Alrighty.
What I have to say is, I wish that Dream Theater made this album like a long time ago, because I probably would have been a bigger fan of them. And it's more of a hard rock album than like a prog rock album, I think. And they went more. I think they totally flipped it around after the last album that they did, because the last album was like crazy long and crazy interludes and little ditties on there and everything like that. I mean, it was cool. It was good. It was cool to see live, but like a lot of people, even like diehard Dream Theater fans, like bashed the fuck out of it, because like Peter Cesare and Vinny Follett, like Vinny from the I Love It Outcast, they hated that album. They bashed the shit out of it. I liked it, and actually, BC, Peter was one of the guys at the show in Wilkes-Barre that said that it sounded like shit too. Really? And like we must have been just in the sweet spot of the theater, because it was so amazing sounding, and it's just crazy. I just wanted to throw that out there. I think it's cool. I like the album. I listened to it again today. BB's like shocked over there. I love Untethered Angel. It's got like a monster riff. It's got little atmospheric keyboards and stuff. The vocals are great. Paralyzed is really cool. I, like everyone else, Barstool Warrior, I think is fantastic. It's got the DT stuff that I like. I like the really melodic vocals in that song, and it's like a kick-ass like melodic guitar solo in there too. And actually, there's parts in this album that between the crazy keyboards and the guitars, I can't tell which is which sometimes. Like I don't know. I'm like, was that guitar? Was that keyboards? Like it just seems like they mesh so well. And Dylan, you said you thought that on Room 137 that it was kind of Beatles-ish kind of vocals. I kind of got a little Pink Floyd vibe from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And Pale Blue Dot, from the stuff that I remember listening to, the stuff that I was like, about Dream Theater, was I got a lot of that out of Pale Blue Dot. A lot of time changes in it, but it's rocking though. But it reminds me of the older stuff, but then I don't know why I didn't like the older stuff. Maybe because it's not a 20-minute long song.
Yeah.
And I agree with everybody. Viper King, kick-ass song. And I literally wrote down Channeling Deep Purple. Cool rocker, great solos. And I think it's awesome. It's a great rock metal album, not too much craziness on it.
And I want to say this was the first album that Mike Mangini actually had a lot of input on, because the previous 3 albums, the drum tracks were already laid out a little bit by John Petrucci, and there wasn't too much Mangini input. But in this album, he actually has some writing credits, and he was able to.
There's not a ton of crazy.
Well, yeah.
Playing on this album like there is not a lot of them where like every guy's got to show that he is a virtuoso at his thing. I think this album is more of a gels together than than there's so much like on the other albums. There's so much standout stuff. Everything just I think fits really well on this album.
And I think it's interesting because people the one complaint they had about Mike Mangini's playing on the previous albums are that he sounds like a drum machine, because he's like basically playing like crazy shit. And I like that we get to hear this drum sound, because I really like how he plays the drums on this album. It's more pulled back. He has his moments to flourish, but it's a supportive thing. It holds people up. The one thing that and Mike Portnoy is a god on drums, but there were times where he would sometimes overplay on Dream Theater. There'd be too much fill.
It's like, look at me.
But like Mike Mangini is in a supportive role and is still given his chance to sign. So I really think that he does a really good job, as well as Jordan and John and James. But I'm glad that you guys at least had something nice to say about the album. If not, everybody liked it. But I figured that most people, like most everybody at this table, would not connect with it, I'll say. But I'm glad that everybody found something to enjoy out of it. So we'll go to our next person, right?
All right, yeah. Next up from the Boston Red Sox hat is going to be Sonny. What do you got first?
All right, so I brought in Battle Beast, No More Hollywood Endings. Just came out on March 22nd on Nuclear Blast Records. Battle Beast is from Finland, formed in 2005. This is like their 5th album. I would label them symphonic metal with no Cookie Monster vocals. Noora, who's a lead vocalist, has this like beautiful, powerful voice, and that's the only name I can pronounce. So the other 5 names I can't pronounce. So just Google schmoogle them, and you'll get all the info you want. For me, really getting into music in the 80s, female rock singers were kind of tough for me, right? We had Lita, we had Joan Jett, Patti Smythe, Chrissy Hynde, Pat Benatar, Ann Wilson, but not really much more than that. And all those ladies are great, but they weren't exactly hard rock or metal.
No.
That, my friends, has absolutely changed. In Europe, there is tons of female vocalists that are either sharing vocals with a Cookie Monster guy on the other side, or they're just kicking ass. So that's kind of cool to see in here. Song-wise, so it opens up with Unbroken. I mean, you hear Noora's vocals within seconds, right? And you got to love that the song is just kind of big, like it's like arena rock that just kind of rips your head off. Next one's No More Hollywood Endings. It's one of those singles where the song is good, but there's a video for it. I would tell you, don't watch the video, because if you're watching the video and trying to listen to the song, you're going to hate the song. It's one of those videos that just distract from the song. I absolutely hate that. Eden's Next, another catchy song, awesome guitars, and the official video doesn't distract, so that one's actually pretty good. The guitar solos are good on all these songs. Unfairy Tales, a little more tame song, not exactly radio-friendly, but closer than the first 3. Then you get to Endless Summer, which is totally radio-friendly, and I was kind of imagining like Richard Marx kind of singing it, take one guitar out of the mix, and you got adult contemporary, basically, which is kind of interesting, and there's a fun video for that one. Next one is Hero, which goes right back to what they are: guitar melodies, driving drums, catchy choruses. Piece of Me, perfect song. If you want to try Battle Beast, go to No More Hollywood Endings, fast forward to Piece of Me, and if you don't like that song, you're probably not going to like Battle Beast. I Wish is next, which is kind of more like a movie score, more than probably, like it sounded like a theme song to James Bond for me, but that's just me. Raise Your Fist is the longest song on the disc. It's 6 minutes, and the first 90 seconds is completely unnecessary. Otherwise, that would have clocked in at a 4.5-minute song, too. The Golden Horde is one of those songs where, the guitar, bass, and drum mix just want to make you, like, punch somebody. So, Steve, if, like, you're standing next to BC watching Battle Beast, you might want to move because you're going to get killed.
Well, that's why I sit across the table.
And then World on Fire, just another great guitar riff. And then Bent and Broken's a ballad, which they do a great job with. And then they close out with My Last Dream, which is more of a straight-ahead rocker. So I would say my top 4 songs on the album is Piece of Me, Unbroken, Golden Horde, and World on Fire.
All right, cool. BB. Time for some BB for Battle Beast.
Battle Beast. Sonny, first off, I want to say that I love you. Battle Beast. You know, you hear the name of this band, and you think these guys are just going to kick your ass. But I have to say, every song on this album reminded me of the Frozen movie. That one song that they have.
You're thinking of Let It Go.
Let It Go. That, for some reason, every time I heard this song, boy, that's like sounds like a Frozen movie song. But the female singer, you're absolutely right. Her vocals are amazing. She's like a mix of Ann Wilson and Lizzie Hale. Like, she is definitely the all-star of this band. But I think the reason why I'm not a big fan of this album, it's very busy. Almost like what Steve said before about Dream Theater. He wasn't sure if you're getting keyboards or guitars. It just, there's so much going on. It kind of blows my mind, and I'm totally lost. There were a couple great songs on this album, though. I have to give you that. Piece of Me is a very heavy tune, and the guitar work is fantastic. My Last Dream is it almost sounds like the Friends intro, and then but it's a heavier tune. Endless Summer is another great song. The synth and piano part on that, they kind of tune it down a little bit. I think the mix of it is a lot better. And then Unfairy Tales, it starts off exactly like Bon Jovi's It's My Life. The second I heard it, I'm like, oh, wow, it's Bon Jovi. I actually had to look it up and see what's the name of the Bon Jovi song, because it just took me right back to 1989, whenever that song came out. But this was a tough one to get through. Just very busy for my ears.
All right. I liked it, actually, and I was kind of not surprised when Sonny picked it, but I was like, holy shit, I've already listened to this album a couple times. I obviously liked it because I listened to it a couple times, and you guys know I like the symphonic rock stuff, and I'm really surprised that BB didn't, throw Nightwish out there. Because I know he hated that when we did that album, but I enjoyed this album. I think it's cool. I always like that the big sounding albums, and this has got a lot of big sounding songs on it, like Unbroken. It's got right out of the gate starts, and right then you hear the first song, you're like, her voice is fucking excellent, and it gets off to a good start. Unfairy Tales has got a really cool groove to it. It's great. That Endless Summer song, and I wrote down very 80s sounding, and you're right, Sonny, that could definitely be like a Richard Marx song. And the songs that really resonated with me, I like The Hero. It's really good. It's got a really fast pace to it. The solo's ripping in it. And Piece of Me, Sonny, you're absolutely right. I wrote down it's Hailstorm-like, aggressive song. And the solo's really short in that song, but it's really good. I Wish is ballad. I skipped that one. Raise Your Fist is very, very symphonic start to it. Like you said, they could cut that out of there. But once it kicks in, it's like, ooh, this is good. But it sucks that you have to sit through that minute and a half of stuff. And I love that there's like a voice in the background, more spoken word, people. But it's actually kind of cool, and you're trying to...
At the end?
Towards the end, there's
the last
guy
song?
talking in the background.
The last song?
No, and Raise Your Fist.
Okay.
Golden Horde is really good. And the last song, My Last Dream, I think it's a cool rocking song at the end, but I think it's got a Rolling Stones feel. There's that one part where it's just the lone guitar playing, and I could just picture Keith Richards standing there playing this part of this fucking song, which would be really something crazy to see. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. I was surprised that you picked it.
Okay, so I was listening to this album, and Unbroken starts playing, and I'm really getting into it. The hard rocking verses are awesome. Then it gets to the chorus, and I'm like, holy crap, this is like an 80s like chorus with the keyboards, and I'm loving this. And then like I go to Eden, and the solo in Eden is really kicking ass. Once I get to Unfairy Tales, I realize something. I'm like, this is a pop metal album. This is like a metal band that wants to play pop music but still wants to stay true to their metal roots. And I really loved it. I was really digging it because you don't really see that too much. They have like the pop hooks. The lead singer at times goes for somebody. I read a review where somebody compared her to Shania Twain at times, and I can kind of hear it. She definitely strays more towards metal than Shania Twain, but I can kind of hear that as well. I love the Golden Horde. I love that they put the Wilhelm Scream at the end of that song. I love the Wilhelm Scream. You hear it in every Star Wars movie. You know the scream that's literally in every Star Wars movie, and they reuse it. It's like a sound clip that's always used. You don't know what the Wilhelm Scream is?
I never heard of that.
You've never heard of the
Wilhelm
Wilhelm Scream?
I probably heard it, but I've never heard that term before.
Oh, Dad, come on. That's a classic.
Sorry.
Come on.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up really quickly.
Dylan, your nerd is showing.
Okay. Okay, here it is. That scream.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like, come
now
on.
I know what that is.
Yeah, it's the Wilhelm Scream.
See that I could go to sleep tonight knowing I learned something new.
So if you're watching,
was that the person that does that?
It was. That's just what it was called in like the sound. It was like in like the sound archive library, and they pulled it, and it was under. It was named Wilhelm Scream.
Okay.
So that's what it's called currently. But I love that they had that at the end of Golden Horde.
That's the sound where the guy goes into the thing in the desert, right?
Yeah, like he like.
Isn't that the Boba Fett makes that noise, right? When he goes into the
Boba Fett
thing.
doesn't, but I think one of the other dudes does.
Okay.
Also,
Now
one of the
my nerd is showing.
stormtroopers that gets shot, like in the Death Star, and he falls down the chasm.
Okay.
He goes, ah.
All right.
But
okay.
I loved that at the end of it. All in all,
we're gonna have to call this episode the Wilhelm Scream.
This was a really good album. I really enjoyed it. It was different, and that's what I think I liked the most about it. You don't really hear like pop sounds coming from a metal band, and I thought that was a really cool blend of the two genres.
Right.
BC. Did I make you rethink your views?
No. You helped me. I threw this on him, and my notes here from after listening to it's good vocals, good solo. The grindage parts are too polished, which after you said very pop, they're very pop, trying to stay metal. That hit right on the nail for me. Piece of Me is the song that really I was listening all one after another, and I got to that one like, ooh. To me, I think the sound, the guitar and everything in that song is more metal than, say, the rest of the album. And, of course, the Golden Horde.
God.
The Golden Whore.
The Golden Horde. But it was very...
for Game of Thrones this weekend.
Very, like, opera-ish, powish, like, very popish. And after you said that, I'm like, you know what, that's it. I just couldn't put my finger on and listen to it. Overall, not bad, but I don't know if I can get into it.
Sounds like a 90s pop album at times, and I love it.
And that's the part that I think they were killing me. It's very... You know,
it's so
Sonny,
different.
you should have said first that... I don't know if you know it, BC, but Lizzie Borden guest on this album, and then he would have fucking loved it.
Yeah, right.
See, that's the key to get me to like anything.
Yeah.
All those parts you hated, those were the Lizzie parts.
Yeah.
Background
Lizzie
vocals.
did the Wilhelm Scream.
Liz helped scream.
All right, cool. There's 2 out of our 5. So before we get into it, we will do a little hidden gem. All right, so we are going to do a hidden gem this week. We did not do one last week because we did the Awesome Kiss concert review. So figure we'll do one this week. We'll get right back into it since we got the whole band back together and with our awesome guest, Sonny. And Sonny, we'll let you go first. What gem do you got first today, buddy?
So there was a band that came up with a new album in 2018. Hopefully you didn't miss it. Remember Animal Drive, the album
Yes.
Bite? Okay. So they've come back, and since we were doing new albums, I figure I'd pick a new hidden gem. They just released an EP of 4 songs.
Oh.
And it is called Back to the Roots. They do 4 covers: Uncle Tom's Cabin, Monkey Business, Judgment Day by Whitesnake, and The Look by Roxette.
Wow.
And if Motley Crue would have done with Virgin what Animal Drive did with The Look, you would have actually liked it. These 4 songs are unbelievable. They are perfect covers for this band. And I didn't even know this EP was coming out. I happened to just kind of trip over it. I had no clue it was coming out, but it's awesome.
Oh, cool. That's the, like, she's got the look, right?
Yeah,
That's that one?
yeah.
Okay. See, there's my singing
key.
for the,
Yeah,
there's my
yeah.
singing. Oh, cool. Yeah, and it is, I love when bands do songs that, like, you don't think, unless it's Motley Crue doing, like, a Virgin. But I'm going to have to check that out, because that Animal Drive album was excellent. That was really good. And that wasn't even on my radar until you guys had it on the end of your year-end episode. Very awesome. All right, BB, what do you got?
I have a band out of Connecticut. BC is really heavy into these guys. The band's called Obsession, and the song is called High Treason. It is on the Methods of Madness album from 1987. These guys are heavy metal, melodic, guitar riff gods to the core. This whole album, Methods of Madness, is amazing. But this High Treason, it's a quick 3:30. It's quick. It's high-pitched vocals, screaming guitar solos, and everything that I like in my bowl of cereal. So I figured I'd throw that out there and let somebody else give it a little taste.
Cool. I listened to it. Didn't really grow on me too much, but
Wow. Way to shit all over it.
but I will listen to it again though. I'll listen to the album too. I listened to it quick when I wasn't really paying attention to it, so I
Didn't even get a
I
chance.
take my shit
He
back.
didn't even listen. He didn't even listen.
I did.
All we're saying
It's
is,
not my fault.
all we're saying is, give Obsession a chance.
Give it a
Yeah,
chance. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. All right, Dylan.
Okay, so this one's gonna take a little explaining. How familiar are you guys with the game series God of War?
Oh, yeah.
I know Megadeth has a song on it.
Gears of War is what you're thinking.
Oh, okay. Well,
Well, God of War.
it's a war thing.
God of War, you're basically playing a Spartan and you're killing Greek gods. Short story. In 2010, the third game in the series came out, and to commemorate that, Roadrunner, in conjunction with God of War, put out an EP called God of War Blood and Metal. And it's a 6-song EP, 7 songs if you get the bonus track. But I didn't get the bonus track because it's on Apple Music. The song, the artists you might recognize, Killswitch Engage has a song, Trivium, Dream Theater, Opeth, Taking Dawn, and Mutiny Within. So these are all original songs, completely made for the game. The Dream Theater song is actually, it's called Raw Dog, which is, God of War spelled backwards. It's an instrumental, so no James LaBrie, and it's actually the last song they recorded with Mike Portnoy on drums, which I found really interesting. But the Trivium song is really good. The Killswitch Engage song is good. Taking Dawn, This Is Madness is the song they do. They are a really good band. They only had one album out, and on that album, you'd be very happy to hear this. They do 2 covers. One is The Chain by Fleetwood Mac, and on the bonus edition, they do Black Diamond. And they're both really good covers.
Oh, yeah. What band is that?
Taking Dawn. They only came out with one album, and then they rebranded as a different band, and they had a couple singles for that. But my hidden gem is the God of War Blood and Metal EP that has all these awesome songs on it. The Opeth song is probably the weakest one. It's actually a soft song for Opeth, which is weird because Opeth is a little heavier at times. But the rest of the songs I would highly recommend. It's on Apple Music. It probably is on Spotify if you look hard enough. But it's a really good EP.
All right, awesome. I will go next. I picked actually, this album came out in, I think, Asia or Europe in 1995, came out in the United States in 1996. It's a very under-the-radar album for this band, and it was supposed to be a solo album for Blackie Lawless, just like Crimson Idol was supposed to be a solo album for Blackie Lawless. And this one's called Still Not Black Enough. Great Wasp album. I don't know. I know BC's familiar with it. And I'm sure Sonny probably is. I'm sure Dylan's probably not.
I've heard it.
But it's a great album. And Frankie Benelli plays drums on it. Bob Kulick plays guitar. Blackie, of course, does the singing, but he does rhythm guitar and bass on there also. And it's great. And so check it out. Wasp, Still Not Black Enough. It is not on iTunes or anything, so you kind of got to search a little bit for it. All right, BC, are you ready now, my friend?
I'm ready.
All right, what do you got?
There's not too many times I get free time. And I was listening to
Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden. I was listening to this band out of California, and I was listening to Digital Killed Radio Star. I drawn a blank on the guy's name. I was trying to look it up real quick. From Lord Tracy.
Oh, Terry Glaze?
Terry Glaze.
Yes. I listened to that, and I pissed my pants laughing through most of that. So, of course, I got back into Lord Tracy. I didn't know they had a live album out. It's listed as coming out in 2006. Just Lord Tracy Live. It's like 17 songs. Just great. Like somewhere in Texas it was recorded. And I guess it's just a great live album. Very fun, interactive with the crowd. And I love the East Coast Rose. Everybody thought it was East Coast Hose.
Sonny, you guys did something with Terry Glaze, didn't you?
Well, I think BC means Growing Up Rock because Huddy hasn't done anything with Terry Glaze.
Yeah, it was you. I was to say it was you guys. I would laugh my balls off. That was fucking hilarious.
Okay, it was you guys. I'd be all right.
Yeah. Because actually, I ordered the Lord Tracy album on vinyl like right after I listened to the guy's episode. It was funny because even his wife was there chiming in. She was funny too.
Yeah. And she's actually a rocket scientist.
Rocket scientist.
Yeah. We talked about this on the last time. Yeah. One of the last times Sonny was on.
But that got me right back, and I just started listening to Lord Tracy. And I found this live album and threw it on one night. And like you said, you find yourself just
Species.
Lord Tracy.
All right, awesome. There's our gems for the week. I have Wasp, Still Not Black Enough. BB's got Obsession, High Treason, the song. From what's that album, BC or BB?
Methods of Madness.
BC's got Lord Tracy Live. Sonny's got Animal Drive, the EP, Back to the Roots, which I really cannot wait to hear. And Dylan's got God of War, Blood and War.
It's God of War, Blood and Metal.
Blood and Metal. Okay.
God of War, Blood and Metal.
Okay. And actually, I can't wait to hear that one, too. I'm definitely going to check that one out. So check out the gems, you guys. If you have something you want us to check out, we will do it and review it. Do it and review it. There you go. And let's go back into our albums. And who's up next? BB, I think, is going to go next.
All right. It's funny how I picked this album because when you sent me that text of wanting to know your albums, I was 4 songs into this album, and since it was released on the 29th, and probably you sent that text around the 1st of April, I said, hell, I'm already here. You might as well just stay here. The album I picked is from LA Guns, The Devil You Know. When Phil Lewis and Tracy Guns get together, it is such magic that they make. They just bring out the best in each other. And this album, Phil's vocals reminds me of like 1980s Paul Stanley. Like his vocals on this album are spot on. His vocals have never been as good as they are now, and this is their 12th album. They came out like in 83 or something. But this album, front to back, not a skippable song, fantastic. Tracy Gunn's guitar work is mind-blowing, and it was a very big surprise. Last album that they released in 2017, The Missing Piece, it was all right. It wasn't bad. This album blows that album right out of the water. And for me, this is my Judas Priest of last year's albums. This album is right out front out of anything that anybody's released so far. I am so hooked on this album, it's unbelievable. The opening track, Rage, it is just so raw and gritty that you expect out of LA Guns. There's so many other great songs on here. Stay Away, Loaded Bomb, The Devil You Know, they actually did a video for that I actually saw today, which is cool. And I'm just hooked, sold, sucked right into this album. And it's very odd that I go through an album and I don't really skip a song. This album I've probably listened since it came out, and I haven't skipped a song yet. So I love to hear what you guys think.
All right, I'll go first on this one. LA Guns. Tracy Guns and Philip Lewis belong together in this band. nothing against anyone else that's ever been in the band, whether it be Jesse Pearl singing or, even when Stacey Blades was in the band, Michael Grant. I mean, excellent, excellent players. But these guys just gel. They just belong together in the band, and I think they feed off each other. And I really enjoyed this album. I think it was really cool. Like Rage, but right off the bat, there's a punk feel to it also. As soon as they get going, like Stay Away, that's like a dirty, funky song. I love Loaded Bomb. The guitar is great in there, and actually, that could be like Electric Gypsy Part 2. I want to say.
True.
And except they use bad language in it, which I almost shut it right off right then. But
terrible.
And probably the least song that I like the least on is probably the title track. It's okay, but like everything else, like the other couple key songs for me, Needle to the Bone, great background vocals, awesome solo in that fucking song. Going High, really heavy start to it, like almost. I don't know if everybody out there has heard the LA Guns album American Hardcore with Chris Van Dahl singing for them. And this was one of those albums like the Motley Crue 94 album, the Quiet Riot album with Paul Shortino. It's kind of an album that, like, if you put it on, you would not in a million years think that this was LA Guns. But Going High could definitely be on that album. And that is a good thing. And Gone Honey, excellent. It's got a groove. It's got a little swing feel to it. And there's a bonus track on there, Boom. It's a rocker. It's very catchy. I think it's a great album. And Down in the Hole, it's got like a little psychedelic thing, kind of like Over the Edge kind of feel to it that was on the Point Break. On the Point Break, it's in the Point Break soundtrack. But really good album, and those guys belong together. And I think, BC, that this is the version that is playing M3 now. I'm not sure, but I think it is. Really? Which will be on the Saturday of M3. So I love it. Sonny.
All right. I'll start by saying I like the album, but I'm going to tell you what I didn't like about it first. So the production's a little inconsistent for me. So sometimes, like, the guitars are too loud. Sometimes Phil's too loud. So that part was a little weird. There's a couple of lazy choruses, and I'm just not a big fan of when the chorus gets lazy. Gone Honey, I thought was a little too slow, so I sent BB a 30% speeded up version, and man, that song sounds so much better that way. Going High, I couldn't get through it. It is the absolute worst LA Gun song ever. Well, it is a throwaway from Generation Swine Motley Crue. I mean, it's bad.
You will not like the American Hardcore album then. I don't know if you've ever heard it.
No, I haven't. So I did not like that at all. Now, that all being said, I love Phil Lewis's voice. I think Phil Lewis plus Tracy is absolutely LA Guns. Loaded Bomb was my favorite on the album. Sounded a little bit to me like Bitches Back, and it totally had that cocked and loaded album feel to it. I love the doomy Black Sabbath Devil You Know. That's my second favorite song. And then I love all the gang backing vocals and stuff like that on Needle to the Bone. So that was my third favorite song. So there was definitely more likes than hates. But that one song is terrible, terrible.
That's the American Hardcore song. Wonder if it's a song that was left off of that.
Could be.
Because, Sonny, if you listen to that American Hardcore album of LA Guns, like I said, not in a million years would you think that was an LA Guns album. And that song, you could throw it right on there and it would fit perfectly. All right, cool. Dylan.
Sonny, I'm so glad you mentioned the production, because that's the biggest problem I have with the album, is that the production. I went from listening to my dad's album, which I won't spoil yet, which the production is very clear, very crisp on that. And then I start the first track of LA Guns, and I'm like, holy shit, the difference in the quality of production is so vast. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? However, having said that, the music on it is fucking phenomenal. I'm glad that I re-listened to it today, because that dip in production quality put me off of it for a little bit. But then once I listened to it today, and I start with the first track, Rage, I'm like, holy shit, this is a kick-ass song. And I said that all the way through. The only song that I would say is meh is Another Season in Hell for me. I don't know, it just didn't grab me.
Right.
I love the bonus track, just like with Dream Theater. Boom is kick-ass. It has like that, almost like a swing element to it, I'll say, maybe. But honestly, I'm really upset that we're not getting this incarnation of LA Guns at M3 based on this album alone, because I've never really delved into LA Guns, as I've said many times on the podcast. This is a great album. It's a very kick-ass album. I would just fix the production on it because it's lacking something. It's not as clear as I like my albums to be.
C.
I've been LA Guns on their bandwagon since day one. And again, like you said, last album was great. There's just such a chemistry between Phil and Tracy that cannot be
Denied.
replicated or with anybody else.
Yep.
I mean, not that anybody else that was in the band has not been great, but there's just a chemistry between those two.
The feel.
And you get such a vibe off it. In the last two albums, it's back, that LA Guns vibe.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you said, and like you said, his voice is very good on this. Like you said, rage kicks in. Stay away. Mm-hmm. I can hear that. But the W, I like that one. And Going High, is that or which one did he speed up for us?
Yeah. No, Gone Honey.
Gone Honey.
Gone Honey.
I did. BB played for me the other night at work, and I was like, oh, you know what? That just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Changes the whole song.
Amazing.
He sent that to me, and I couldn't get it to play. So you have to play it for me later.
Okay.
I like that. And then overall, like I said, I like where they're going.
Yeah.
And hopefully we get to see them. But
Yeah. Like as far as M3 goes, I'm not sure. It was supposed to be the Stephen Riley one, but I don't know if it's changed. I don't know. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Well, we'll report to you in about a month or so if it's the actual LA Guns or not. All right, BC, what's your album? Time for you to shock the people.
I'm gonna shock the people with the shock of the fucking episode here.
Shock me!
Shock me, people!
Come on, BC, make me feel better.
It's funny, I'm picking the album and I just go to totally
Shock to me.
rag on people. I'm sorry, my album is Tesla, and this album is Shock. I've loved Tesla since day one they came out, and they're a band that I don't care what anybody says. I go out and buy the album. Boom, boom, boom. This is you don't even think about it. And then I heard this, the wonderful world of the technology, which I'm not a fan of, but thank God they saved me some money this time. And I just put it on, and of course I'm excited because it's Tesla. They never let me down ever.
Until
2019.
2019. I don't know. I'm going to have diarrhea in the mouth. I can't even speak right now. But you put it on as You Won't Take Me Alive. It's very, very pop for Tesla. Not that they were like metal or anything, but
For those out there that are not familiar with this, you got to give the producer on this album.
Phil Collins from Def Leppard produced the...
Phil
Colin, I'm sorry.
It's
Colin.
not a Genesis drummer.
See, I'm all upset here. I'm fucking like... And you can hear... And he co-wrote most of it, too. So, I mean, you can hear the influence big time, which... I'm sorry, this is Tesla. This is not Def Leppard. And it came out like Test Leopard or something. And starts off with You Won't Take Me Alive, which is very like radio-ish, pop-ish, which is not Tesla. Tastes like We Can Rule the World. The choruses are all, if you close your eyes and somebody told you it was Def Leppard, I'd be like, okay, it's Def Leppard. Sounds just like Def Leppard in my book. The closest thing to Tesla, I would say, is Tied to the Tracks. That song I put on, I was like, ooh, wait a minute. This is a little glimpse of what Tesla was. And not saying, I don't mean was, but was on past albums. I Want Everything, Forever Loving You, California Summer Song is like being at a Jimmy Buffett concert. And I'm sorry, I mean, I love Tesla. And to me, this came out, it was a shock. The album's definitely titled correctly. And I'm going to cry right now.
It's a good album cover, though.
The album cover is pretty cool. All right, Sonny, what's your thoughts?
All right, so I had heard bad things, and I'm like, all right, so play the first song. I'm like, well, what the hell's wrong with everybody? This song's fine. Like, yeah, it's a little lighter than what Tesla is, but song sounds good to me. And that was actually my favorite song on the album.
I'm not saying it's bad. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, why did they put this stuff out for? It's just, it's not Tesla, and I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
mean it's not
Oh, I'm
totally
getting
Tesla.
to that.
It's very heavily influenced by somebody.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So that was my favorite song on it. Then Taste Like was Pour Some Sugar on Me, Part 2.
Yes.
We Can Rule the World. You got to keep Jeff's voice out of that kind of shit. He can't sing that kind of stuff.
No.
Shock was a little more Tesla at least. Love is a Fire is fine. California Summer Song. I'm like, what's with the pseudo Kid Rock shit? Like, I don't understand what. Right. The ballads were kind of meh for me. I liked The Mission and Tied to the Tracks. Those were my number 2 and 3. Afterlights sounded a little Aerosmith, and then the last 2 songs were total Def Leppard. I'm just like, God, this is so bad. This is terrible. This will be on my disappointed list this year, no doubt.
Yeah, Sonny, it's funny when you said "Forever Loving You," meh. That's the only thing I have written down for that fucking song. I first got it. I actually ordered it on. I have it on vinyl, BC, and I was on my golf trip in Myrtle Beach the day this came out. So I'm like, oh, cool! I'm gonna listen to a new Tesla album, and I was kind of encouraged because I had seen them a couple days before I went on my trip, and they played Taste Like and they played Shock live, and they came over good live. They were like way heavier than they are on the album. You Won't Take Me Alive, I thought it was a good start, but then bring on the Def Leppard as soon as you get to the chorus. Yep. And the riff right before the solo is like one of the heaviest parts of the album if you just listen to that like little snippet right before the solo. And it's got a cool kind of harmonic solo in it. Like I said, Taste Like they did that live. I thought it was cool. We Can Rule the World, just fucking boring. Shock, it was much heavier live. Love is a Fire, California Summer Song, yeah. Forever Loving You, I'm with you, Sonny, meh. The Mission was okay. It's like a mid-tempo thing. It was okay. Tied to the Tracks, totally agree, BC. Most Tesla-like song on here. There's actually a real guitar solo on this song, and that is a thing majorly lacking on this album are guitar solos. And some of the songs have an electronica feel to them that just drives me fucking insane. I Want Everything. That's got an actual little guitar solo in it, but it's way too short though. It's just like maybe like 2 or 3 bars. It's terribly short. Comfort Zone. I think that was the perfect song for them to end this album with, because you want to go right back to their old stuff and get back into your comfort zone after you listen to this fucking album. And I'm like BC. I love Tesla. I'm going to buy whatever they throw out there. But if Phil Collins wants to do, and I love Phil Collins, believe me, he is one of the most underrated guitar players out there. But if Phil wants to do a solo album, he should do it himself and not have Tesla as like the backup band for his Def Leppard feeling songs.
So this album, I start off with You Won't Take Me Alive, and I was trying to figure it out because the riff in the song sounds exactly like a Slash riff from a certain song, and I cannot for the life of me think of what that song is, and I was trying to find it just now, but I couldn't find it. But the riff sounds like a Slash riff.
That's Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses, yeah. It sounds like...
That's Paradise City.
No. Mr. Brownstone?
I might be Mr. Brown. It sounded like a Slash riff.
Rocket Queen.
Rocket Queen, that's it.
There you go.
Next song.
It was right on the tip of my tongue, and I'm like, this is a Slash riff.
You Won't Take Me Alive?
Yeah, it like
Really?
the riff in it sounds like a Slash riff. But okay, so I'm listening to this album, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, okay, and I get to We Can Rule the World, and I'm like, okay, don't like that song. Write down I don't like it. Then I get to Love is a Fire. I'm like, okay, I really don't like that song, so I write down I don't like it. Then I get to California Summer Song, and I'm like, I really don't like that song, so I wrote that down. Then I get to Forever Loving You, and I'm like, I really don't like that song, so I wrote that down. There were 2 songs that I liked according to my notes. I really like Tied to the Tracks, and
It's
I liked
the most Tesla song on the album.
and I liked I Want Everything for some reason.
The solo, it's short, but
Yeah.
at least it's
But boy, there's a lot to not like on this album.
Exactly.
I don't know if it's better than Simplicity. I think it isn't. But Simplicity has MP3 on it, so that's a real anchor to the body of the.
Yeah, but it just seems like it's more it's more
Def Leppard.
It's more Tesla than this Def Leppard album.
I don't know, and I love Jeff Keith, but a lot of the slower songs, his voice, like Sonny said, his voice doesn't work for them.
No,
it's a little scratchy. It's a little too harsh for a lot of those. It wasn't a good look on Tesla.
No.
I wasn't a giant fan of this album, in all honesty.
All right, BB.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same boat here. This is definitely the disappointment of the night.
The year.
You know, when BC sent his text out that we were going to listen to this, I'm like, oh, good, because I really want to listen to it. Yeah. I think it's we're all on the same page. The only ones I kind of like, I like Shock. It's one of those roller coaster songs that I like to use. Slow. It starts out somewhat slower, then the chorus is a little bit heavy, then it slows down, then the chorus gets heavy, so it goes up and down and up and down. Tied to the Tracks is another song that I enjoyed, and it's a very confusing album because the California Summer song, I don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't know where they're trying to go with that.
That doesn't
song.
even fit with the rest of the shit that's
doesn't
on
even.
No.
Yeah,
that wasn't even Def Leppard. That was
did somebody say Jimmy Buffett?
I did.
See, it's very very weird.
Oh, yeah.
Love is a Fire had somewhat of a like their later 80s, early 90s roots, but it wasn't impressive. Taste Like is another pun on Pour Some Sugar on Me from Def Leppard. And like I said, and everybody else here, it's very disappointing, and I'm sure Phil had a lot to do with it. And
he co-wrote something.
Yeah,
he co-wrote majority of the album.
Yeah, and
which I think was a mistake.
Yeah. And if you listen to the interview with Frank Hannon that Steven did from Sonny and Steven's podcast, Growing Up Rock, and they said they pretty much recorded this on the road last year when Tesla toured with Def Leppard, when it was Tesla, Def Leppard, and Journey on last year's tour. And you could tell this dude was in the room. Sorry, Phil, I love you, but if you want to do a solo album, do it on your own time, not Tesla's. All right.
Now, what's going to be interesting with this album is a friend of mine just bought 2 tickets to Tesla here, and he got 2 CDs with it. So are those going to count as sales? Because if that's the case, and they're going to play all over the world, they're probably going to have a gold album with this.
What?
Yeah.
So he bought tickets to a show, and they give the CD with it?
Yeah. So he gave the CD to me.
Huh. That's weird.
So they're giving them away already.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Is there a cut in yours? Is the CD cut?
No.
No?
So my guess is they rolled it into the ticket price, but I'm trying to figure out, are they going to count that as a sale?
They probably will.
It's a unit. They go by units.
I think they do give them with the tickets, because I think I saw that on Penn's Peak when they announced that every ticket you would get a digital copy or a physical copy of Shock.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah, because you got into the show illegally.
I didn't get in the show legally. I was a guest of Troy Lucetta, who was an awesome guy. All right.
But think about it. If they sell 5,000 tickets a night at 100 shows, they're going to have a gold album.
Yeah, no shit. And these days, that's huge. That's a lot of fucking albums these days.
If those count as album sales, that's a pretty good marketing ploy.
Yeah.
That's pretty smart.
Absolutely. So, all right, last album, it's going to be me. I wanted to do something from a little more modern, little band that was kind of new on the scene, but they're not actually as new as I thought they were. These guys have been a band since 2009, and I won't say they feature, but one of the guitar players in the band is George Harris, son of Steve Harris from Iron Maiden, and which, it pays to have a father in Iron Maiden, because this band has opened up the last 2 tours for Iron Maiden. When we saw them at Madison Square Garden, they were the opening band. We went in late, so I didn't get to see them at all. And I figured since they were going to be the opening band for Maiden this year, and I will go, on the strength of listening to this album, I will go in to see them early for Maiden this year. The album is called Conspiracy. It came out the 8th of March this year. And I really enjoyed this album. I thought, and Dylan alluded to it before, the production on it is crisp and clear, and the drums sound excellent, guitars sound great on it, the vocals are cool. It starts out with a little instrumental thing. It's actually a beautiful piece of music. It's called Bloom of the Poison Seed, and I think I'm not usually, you guys know I'm not usually a big fan of little instrumental interludes before the beginning of an album. I'd rather just come out and kick ass right off the bat. But actually, this, I think, fits really good on this album. And then it kicks into Betrayal of the Mind. It kicks in like a friggin' machine gun with the drums and the guitar. Very heavy chorus, excellent rocking song. The next song is Fleur de Lis. Very cool starting riff, banging drums on it. I love the flow of the vocals in that song. And I think this song is about Joan of Arc. If you get into the lyrics of the song. And that's one of my favorite songs of the album. The Day the Earth Stood Still. It's got a little mellow beginning that kicks in, pretty good vocals. It's got good harmonies. The solo's good in it, and it kicks up. I love the sound of, like, right after the solo, it really rocks. It's like this cool riff after that. Stigmata really rocks. I love the vocal tempo. Like, you guys, I've talked about it many times before. I like when you get the kind of a rapid vocal tempo in a song, and this song really has it. And right in the middle, it kind of kicks down in the middle, but then it kicks right back up into the solo. Surrogate, very Avenged Sevenfold sounding song. I think this song was, and that was one that I really liked too. Seventh Heaven, it's got a cool riff in it, great solo. It slows down some at the end of the song. Another one of my favorites here, Forgotten World. It's got a great groove to start, and it's got a short melodic solo in it. It's very good. The Face That Launched 1,000 Ships, it's okay. It's a kind of a slow song, but the solos in it are fucking excellent. Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, rocker right out of the gate. It's got a great solo. Scimitar, I love, you could hear the shring, like them draw the sword out of the scabbard at the beginning of the song. I think it was really cool. It's got excellent grinding guitar, and I actually love this song. Kick-ass soloing in it, and it ends with Grave of the Fireflies. Very mellow beginning, but then it's got like a bombastic kick in. It's a great riff during the listen to the riff behind the vocals during the verses. Really heavy. Kind of reminds me of Bloody Tears from Lizzie Borden, that I always talk about, that fucking riff right behind the verses in that song. It kind of has that kind of vibe for it for me. And the tempo goes down in the middle, but then it comes right into a kick-ass shredding solo at the end. I really thought this album was fucking excellent. They kind of reminded me of a little bit of a cross between the Black Veil Brides and maybe Dead Girls Academy. And I love the dual vocal parts throughout the album. I thought it was really good, and I really enjoy listening to it. And this is one that I will listen to again even after we're done with this show. Dylan.
Yeah, this is a really good album. It's cool to see Steve Harris's son do really well in a band of his own. I believe this is a different lead singer than the first album that they came out with, because their lead singer just joined last year. But this is a great album. For me, some of the songs blended together a bit. They were a little similar sounding, but I mean that tends to happen. But honestly, this wasn't an album that was shit at all. It was everybody was doing really well on it, and it honestly is really ear catching. Though you might be like, okay, I feel like I'm hearing some of the same stuff again, but it's still solid material. I don't think it was the worst album. Far from it tonight. It was just a great album. Absolutely. I don't have too much to say on it, honestly. It just that it was a good album. I really enjoyed it.
BC.
I love you. Have another beer.
Wow. I will. I'll
Have
take
another
that beer.
beer.
Thank you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
No, I mean, I was looking forward to this the most out of probably all, because I was familiar. I hated the one, and I was familiar with the rest. But I think I was expecting something different. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just very, and you said, as soon as you said Black Veil Brides, the vocals to me are very just that.
In that area.
In that area. And to me, I don't know, that was killing me listening to it. I love that musical. As soon as I put that out, I was like, ooh, good. And to me, it was like right off that, I thought Braveheart movie.
Yeah.
Listening to that first one, I was like, ooh, God, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, and like I said, I was looking forward to this album the most. And then it came on. I was like, I think it's, I don't know, I'm looking for, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I think it's too much, to me, new metal feel.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I can listen to it, but I think I was expecting something a little bit different. Maybe at first, and I was like,
I'm not giving you your beer back.
I gotta drink it.
I give it to you.
All right, cool. All right, Sonny.
All right, so overall, I actually like the album, but I'm going to say the bad stuff first. So, Bloom with a Poison Mind, just like BC, I was like, this isn't a Warrior movie score, so save it for Braveheart 2. Grave of the Fireflies, I was like, save it for the next horror movie or musical. And I actually didn't like Scimitar because I thought the song dragged. That was the only stuff I didn't like about the album. Everything else is awesome. Love the vocals. My favorite song was Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Second was Forgotten World. Third was Stigmata. And fourth was Betrayal of the Mind. The riffing, the dual vocals, the Maiden-like guitar playing and stuff like Stigmata. I mean, the album, I didn't know what to expect, so I didn't go in with any expectations. But the movie score stuff, leave that shit out of it. But if that was gone, this is a great album.
Yeah, there's a little bit of fat on there. I definitely agree with that. It could be shaved off of there. All right,
Yeah.
BB.
This was the album that I was most curious with because I've never heard of these guys, but I knew it was Steve Harris's son. So, like everybody else is kind of throwing a little bit around here, that first instrumental, all I'm waiting for is this death metal Cookie Monster scream vocals that I'm going to hate this album. And let me tell you, I was so surprised. This is probably my favorite album of the night. This was
Get the
fantastic.
AED.
Steve's going down.
Shock advised.
Not Tesla shock advised. I'll still be dead.
This album was fantastic. The lead vocals, the lead vocals are amazing. I think he fits fantastic. Like you said, the Black Veil Brides, like all the songs I'm listening to, I'm still trying to put it together, but I don't know if it's Black Veil Brides. There's somebody else out there that
But
It has that vibe.
It has that vibe.
Has the vibe like that.
Right. And the guitar work is fantastic on this. The three that I thought were really, really good was Fleur de Lis. Is that how we say that?
Fleur de Lis.
Fleur de Lis. I thought that was a really good tune. The Day of the World Stood Still, the guitar work in that, the solo is amazing. And I thought it was great to end the album with the Grave of the Fireflies because I downloaded the one before this album to listen to, but I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it. I loved it.
All right, awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys go out there and pick up these albums for good or not, even if you just want to pick up Shock to see, if you're going to be as shocked as we were when we listened to it.
Or if you like that fabric.
Or if you really like the crazy, really, really melodic stuff that is not Tesla. You may love the album, and we don't go against anybody that it's all personal taste, and so the albums we picked once again were Dylan had Dream Theater, Distance Over Time. Sonny had Battle Beast, No More Hollywood Endings. Imagine that. He picked No More Hollywood Endings.
I didn't know if you were going to catch that.
I was saving it.
I thought it was No More Hollywood Happy Endings.
Yeah, I'm married. I don't know what you speak of.
And I had the Raven Age. The album's called Conspiracy. BC had the Tesla album Shock. And BB had LA Guns, The Devil, What?
do we want to go around and rank?
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
So, I didn't know your plan. Sorry,
Don't rush
you
me, son.
didn't-
All right,
inform me,
and so as Dylan said, let's go around and we'll see where do we rank these albums. You can even rank your own wherever you want to rank it. Okay. All right, so let me see. I have to look at this one. All right, BC, rank them first. Give us your rank.
Shock the people, BC.
I'm gonna go with Dream Theater number 1, LA Guns number 2. I'm gonna have to go with Battle Beast, and then Raven Age, and then my pick.
All right, Dylan, what's your ranks here?
My ranks are kind of similar to BC's. I'm going Dream Theater number 1. I'm going to switch it up a bit, though. I'm going to go Battle Beast number 2. Then LA Guns. Then Raven's Age. And those are all very close together. And then way farther down is Tesla's Shock.
All right, Sonny, what do you got for us?
I got LA Guns at number 1, Raven Age at number 2, Battle Beast at number 3, Dream Theater at number 4, and Tesla at number 99.
Consistent.
All right, I'm gonna go next. I'm gonna go LA Guns number 1. I'm gonna go Dream Theater number 2. I'm gonna go Raven Age number 3. I'm gonna go Battle Beast number 4. 3 and 4 are like neck and neck. And then I'm gonna go Sonny one better. I'm gonna go at 1,000. Is gonna be Shock. BB.
All right. I will go LA Guns 1, Raven Age 2, Dream Theater 3. I'm going to go Tesla 4 and Battle Beast 5. I love you, Sonny.
Wow.
Oh my God!
I feel like that's
Talk about shocking the fucking people.
that's
We could have had a
Wow.
sweep there, but
it's not March anymore. You can't
Oh.
stab Caesar in the back
I
like
was
that.
I was
The Ides of
picking the
March is
underdog.
gone.
I was picking the underdog.
Wow.
Hey, if there's a bag of shit on fire on your porch, that's me because I'm really talented from Milwaukee.
Wow. That truly was a shock.
Awesome.
that was definitely a shock.
So you guys, and it's only April right now, and there's a ton of albums out already, which is it's just amazing how much stuff comes out now and the access you have to it. And I know we've been getting a couple of people telling us albums to check out. Mark Arnold gave me a good one to listen to, which I had already checked out, and I actually ended up picking up on vinyl the new Overkill album. If you like thrash metal, this album is fucking slamming. Definitely check that one out.
That's a band that I think
They're getting better too.
they're getting better.
They're a
Yeah.
band. They're like Saxon and Priest. I think they're getting better as they go along. And the BC, I know you have checked out the Overkill album. I don't know if anyone else has. And Sonny, I don't think Sonny's a thrash metal guy, but if you like thrash metal, this album fucking is slamming. And actually, there's a new Death Angel album coming out for you thrash fans out there. And I've heard a couple songs off that, and that is kick-ass also. So I want to thank you guys for listening to us. We'll go around the table. We'll say our goodbyes, and we'll wrap up here. And Dylan.
It's always cool listening to new albums. I always love doing these episodes. And music, there's so much music coming out nowadays. It's almost overwhelming at times. And what do you listen to? What do you prioritize over other things? It's tough to choose. Unfortunately, one of us chose poorly in terms of albums to spotlight.
You chose poorly.
I chose mine because I wanted to bash it.
No, I know, but like, it would have been nice if I was allowed to spend my time listening to a decent album instead of that. But
Hey, be glad it was a short album.
yeah, it
Good,
was short. I will give you that. But the other albums were phenomenal. Some stuff that never would have popped on my radar. Absolutely. So it was really cool to hear some bands that I would have otherwise overlooked.
All right. BB.
First of all, I want to thank our big brother here, Sonny Pooni, for coming on as always. He's like another member of the family we like to throw around and bash a little bit. It's all in fun.
I love you.
And I'll never say if Tesla's still better than Battle Beast. That'll be for another day. But Sonny, thank you for coming on as always. Great time we had here. And I love listening to new music, especially these older bands that we've listened to, in our younger years, LA Guns, Tesla, still around, still kicking, still making new music. Because I mentioned to somebody the other day that we were doing a podcast and going over Tesla and LA Guns' new album. They're like, "Oh my God, they're still together?"
Yeah,
and I still and I'm like, oh, like
Where have you been?
Like, you don't listen to music anymore? Oh no, not really. And this is like one of the bigger metal guys that I knew at school, and now he just stopped. Like, but like I said, love great music, love new music, and even if it's old stuff, new stuff we've never heard before. And people, get out there. I think we will be releasing this way after Record Day. Go out, buy some new music. Go out, buy some vinyl, something, anything. They said there's a list a mile long for Record Day. Go support your local record store and new music, BC.
Gallery Sound.
GallerySound.com.
All right, Sonny.
Guys, I just want to thank you for the invite. It's always a pleasure joining you guys. You guys take criticism very, very well. I would tell you that the Dream Theater and the Raven Age, I would have never listened to unless they were on this list and I was doing this podcast. They wouldn't have got 1 second of my time. But, there were some good songs. Well, there were some great songs on Raven Age, and there were some good songs on Dream Theater. So it's always worth listening to new music. And I've always been a music nerd. I don't read well. I actually absolutely hate reading. Every waking moment that I have free, I either listen to music or podcasts. So appreciate you guys giving me the time.
Awesome. BC.
As always, Sonny, great to have you on here. Great to your opinions and everything. Love them. And I did my pick tonight because I was a jilted lover. And I found out that my love did something horrible, and I had to voice my opinion. But check out new music. Absolutely.
All right. Once again, Sonny, thank you very much. We appreciate you. I know you got 8 million things going on, and we appreciate you spending some of that time with us. And we appreciate everybody out there spending some of your week with us. We know everybody's busy, got a ton of things coming on, and we like putting these shows out there for you guys. We like to try to mix it up and do different stuff all the time. Real quick, Sonny, I hope that everybody enjoyed the solo album episodes. You guys released 2 episodes on our podcast. We released 2 episodes on your podcast. It was a blast to do. And, it was something I don't think any other podcast has ever even attempted. Something so crazy or stupid, however you want to put it, but we had such an awesome time doing it. Sonny, real quick, what's your thoughts on those episodes?
I thought they came out great. We got some great feedback. There was actually one person that said we need to do a 3-way with Cobras and Fire or some shit, and I was like, "You're nuts." I love Cobras and Fire.
Podcasts.
Come on, yeah, but no, it was definitely something unique, and I hadn't heard your 2 episodes. So they were a surprise to me. So, I really enjoyed them. And they were all a bit different, which was really cool.
Yeah, it was a blast doing them. And we thank everybody for listening out there. And if you have not checked out the Growing Up Rock podcast with Sonny and Steven, go over, check that out. They have a lot of cool episodes. They have some really cool interviews out there. I really enjoyed they did a bunch of build-up episodes for the Monsters of Rock cruise, and they did a wrap-up show at the end of it, which was great. And you could check out our Kiss solo album podcasts on the Grown Up Rock podcast. BB and I did Peter Criss and Ace Frehley album, and BC and Dylan did Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. They did the Dictators, we did the Peons. But they came out really cool, and Steven, and I'm sure if you guys are faithful listeners, you have heard Steven and Sonny's thing. So if you have not checked those guys out by now, go check them out. And if you haven't checked out them, go check out us on their show and check out their episodes. And guys, we love doing this podcast. We love putting stuff out there for you guys. Keep sharing us, keep listening, tell your friends about us. If you have fellow metalhead friends, like BB said, a good friend of his doesn't listen to music anymore, and I gotta say, I feel really, really sad for someone that doesn't have music in their lives. It is such a great thing. It's a thing that brings people together. And I cannot picture someone driving in a car without any fucking music on. I don't know. I can't fathom that. That just like it's something that I don't know. I think that's what it would feel like to be dead. Just fucking just like be driving in a car with no music. I digress. Sorry. So check us out. Keep sharing us. Check out our Spotify playlist that we have every week. And you can listen to us anywhere if you listen to us now. Spread us out there. And we will see you next time. And there definitely will be a next time.